Welcome to the Science Experience podcast, where we explore the latest and most exciting papers and preprints in science. Before we jump in today, could you do us a big favor? Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and maybe share it with friends or relatives. It really does help us out a lot, helps support the Science Experience so we can keep doing these deep dives. Okay, so today we're tackling something really interesting, maybe a bit unexpected. We're asking, do birds, with their amazing brains and sometimes surprisingly long lives, do they get age-related brain diseases like Alzheimer's or Parkinson's in humans? We've really gone deep into the literature, looking at, a whole range of studies, histology, behavior, the works to get the full picture, a goal to kind of unpack the whole story of brain aging in birds, what makes them vulnerable, but also what makes them so resilient sometimes. So let's get into it. All right, so kicking things off, the simple answer to that big question isn't just no. It seems birds can, under certain conditions anyway, develop conditions that look, strikingly similar to what we see in mammals. And that's where it starts getting really fascinating.
Yeah, what's really compelling is the genetic evidence. Take parrots, for example, specifically yellow-crowned Amazons. There are studies showing a spontaneous mutation just popped up in a gene called KDPS2. It's involved in how brain cells communicate. And this mutation leads to a pretty aggressive early-onset neurodegenerative disease. You see widespread neuron loss and significantly these little clumps inside the neurons' inclusions that are positive for α-synuclein and ubiquitin. Basically, they look like Lewy bodies, which, as you know, are a key sign of Parkinson's in humans.
Oh, Lewy bodies.
Exactly. So it really nails down that the basic molecular machinery for these diseases isn't just a human thing. It suggests a sort of deeper conserved vulnerability across species.
That's a really powerful genetic link. But what about things from the outside? Environmental factors. Can, things in their surroundings cause similar problems, even without that specific gene issue?
Oh, absolutely. The research really points to environmental exposures, too. There are studies on birds higher up the food chain, like homing pigeons, even woodpeckers. When they're exposed to certain pesticides, specifically organochlorines, researchers see changes in brain protein structures, changes consistent with amyloid aggregation, the kind of stuff we associate with Alzheimer's disease. Yeah. These birds actually show cerebral amyloid angiopathy, that's protein buildup in the brain's blood vessels, and loss of synapses. And importantly, this correlates with problems in spatial cognition, like finding their way around.
Okay, so it's not just microscopic changes then. It has real-world consequences for the birds.
Precisely. It suggests these environmental neurotoxins can kickstart degenerative changes in a bird's brain, which, frankly, mirrors a pretty significant worry for human health, too. Raises questions about exposure.
So we got the cellular stuff, the protein clumps.
Yeah.
But how does this actually, look in the birds? Do their behaviors change in ways that might remind us of human symptoms?
Yes, exactly. That's a crucial piece. So, for example, in songbirds, they've done studies using transgenic models. They express the mutant human Huntington protein, that's the one causing Huntington's disease. And these birds show neuron loss and protein clumps, specifically in the brain circuits they use for learning songs. And the result, their singing progressively declines.
Their songs actually change.
Yeah. And similarly, if you overexpress alpha-synuclein in zebra finches, you see changes like altered syllable duration, reduced volume. It actually mimics some of the very early vocal problems seen in human Parkinson's patients.
That's incredible.
It really is. And these behavioral checks are so important because they show the link between the neuropathology, the stuff under the microscope, and actual function. It's not just abstract. It affects how they live.
Okay, so it definitely sounds like birds are susceptible, but you mentioned resilience earlier.
Yeah.
Don't they have some unique biological tricks up their sleeves that might protect them, at least sometimes?
They absolutely do. If you look at the bigger picture, birds have some remarkable traits. Their longevity, for one. Some live incredibly long, especially considering their high metabolic rate. Part of that seems to be down to really enhanced cellular defenses against oxidative damage. Think of it like a highly efficient internal cleanup crew dealing with cellular stress.
Better antioxidants, sort of?
Kind of, yeah, a more robust system. And then there's neurogenesis. Many birds, especially songbirds, keep producing new neurons throughout adulthood. This happens in key brain areas like the high vocal center, the HVC, crucial for their songs.
They make new brain cells as adults.
Robustly. And this ability to constantly integrate new neurons might give them a significant degree of resilience. It could help repair or replace damaged circuits. And that might be why we don't typically see the same widespread plaques and tangles in naturally aging birds that are so characteristic of Alzheimer's in humans.
Okay, so they have ways to potentially counteract the damage.
Exactly. It highlights these innate protective mechanisms aren't just theory, they're observable defenses. And that, offers potential clues for us too.
So putting it all together,
Yeah.
what's the big takeaway here? What can studying bird brains tell us about neurodegeneration overall? Maybe even for humans.
Well, it really underscores the power of comparative biology, doesn't it? Birds emerge as a really promising model system. They let us study both the vulnerabilities and these unique protective strategies against neurodegeneration by looking at their different lifespans, their regenerative abilities, their specific brain structures. We gain fresh perspectives on these fundamental disease processes. The evidence seems clear. While birds aren't totally immune under the right or maybe wrong genetic or environmental circumstances, they absolutely show brain changes comparable to mammals.
So comparing helps find new angles.
Precisely. This comparative approach could point towards entirely new targets for therapies. Maybe we could learn how to boost neurogenesis in human brains or enhance those cellular defense mechanisms, drawing lessons from birds. Just consider it. Avian biology, their long lives, their brain's ability to regenerate, even how they respond differently to toxins. Could this offer completely new ways to think about preventing or slowing down these devastating diseases in humans? What lessons are truly embedded in their evolutionary path, and how could they genuinely reshape neuroscience?
That is definitely something profound to think about long after we finish up here. For more fascinating insights like this from the world of science, please do remember to like this video and subscribe to the SANS Science Experience. We really appreciate your support, and we'll be back with another deep dive soon.